All right, welcome back to the Spinnin Backfist MMA show. It is Robbie Fox, Big Ev, and Jack Mack, and we are here with the champ, the PFL champ, Brendan Loughnane. He's got a PFL season coming up, PFL 1. We're about 3 days away. He's cutting weight right now. He's got a fight against Marlon Moraes. How are we feeling?
Feeling fantastic. Great to be back here after coming in studio last time. It was great to meet you guys.
I know, it was great to meet you, and then we watched you fight at Madison Square Garden, and where we were sat was one row in front of your entire family for the fight. So we were watching the fight and we felt like we were in your family because the noise that they generated was amazing. We were celebrating with them afterwards. I mean, Large, our coworker, as we established, is literally your family. That was an amazing night for us. I assume it was just as amazing for you. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, it was amazing. Wow. So they put you guys in front of my family, yeah? That's what
literally the row in front. There was a video of your family celebrating. Jack took it.
Yep.
Well, listen, I'm glad you guys got amongst it, and you must have felt the love that the family had for me, because I watched the video back where you can see my family's reaction. I mean, there was people diving over seats. I think a couple of security guards got punched. Like, there was wild scenes in there. So yeah, it was glad. I'm glad, but you know what? This one belt ain't enough for me. It's time for two now, and that's why we're here.
What was it like afterwards, by the way? Was it like a chill thing? Go back to the hotel and chill with your family, or was it let's go party?
I mean, it lasted about 3 days. There wasn't much sleep involved. It was amazing. We were just going wild, going from Irish bar to nightclub, then to restaurant, and just really taking in the scenes. I had the unlimited card on me, like, yes, let's go. Bump, 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 bump. It was tapping everywhere. It was great.
Now you're the champ, obviously. How does it feel going into the season now, going from like the hunter to the hunted? That's got to be like a whole different kind of mindset.
Yeah, hunter to hunted, but I've also kept the same mindset of get to Thailand, get amongst these big names. You know, I know what kind of numbers I have to get on the track. I know how, you know, who I've got to spar in order to be the best. I know my strength and conditioning, how much weight I lift. So I always thought to myself, like, if these numbers start dipping, like, that's when the hunger really goes. But if anything, the numbers increased in this camp. And I've actually made it to this camp without an injury, which is great, because that's always a difficult one with the level of intensity in these training camps. So I'm happy that I got through this one, and I'm ready to put on a show against Marlon.
I wanted to ask about the injuries because I know you went through last season with a bunch of them. What injuries were you actually fighting through last season?
So for Kudo, where I owed you the first fight, I tore my MCL. I had a grade 2 tear. So that was horrible. That put me out the first 2 fights pretty much. I was hobbling around. I don't know if you've seen, I was wearing knee pads and taping it up. It's all documented. And then Chris Wade, I was banged up. But then the final, I actually broke my toe real bad, like John Jones, like when it was facing that way. And I had to tape it to the other toe. And then that was 10 days out. And then I taped it in the back. And then as I was walking out, they're like, hey, you can't have tape. I'm like, no. So they cut the tape off, and I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm here now anyway. Let's go. But I can hand on heart say I am 100% healthy. And if I did all that while injured, tune in Saturday night.
Did you see what was when you were watching John Jones with the tape? Because a lot of us were like, wait, what's going on? What's going on? Did you see it immediately and think, oh, yeah, I know what's going on here? Because I guess, well, you just described it. It exactly happened to you.
No, I felt John Jones's pain that night because, like, I didn't care about the pain of the toe, but what I cared about was it was broken. So if it starts pointing that way, the ref's going to stop it because the toe's pointing the other way. And then I'm going to lose $1 million because of a toe. So I'm like, tape it to that toe, so at least it doesn't move. I don't care about the pain. And as I was walking out, I was literally about to take my first step to walk out. My music was on. They were like, hey, take that off. I'm like, oh, no. So they got a pair of scissors and cut it off. And I'm like, okay, just stay in line, boy. Just stay in line. And then I didn't start using the teeps because I knew that if I teeped him, and he blocked it with his elbow, it was just going to bend the other way. So I was like, okay. And I started using them in like the 3rd and 4th. Once I knew I was comfortable and he was starting to diminish, I thought, right, start using them now. And that's the reason I didn't start using the teeps till the last round.
That's a great story. That's phenomenal. We were seeing before you got in here. We were in here before we started recording. You said that your belt is scratched up a little bit. We in America have the Stanley Cup, and the Stanley Cup goes through for hockey. I mean, it goes to every player all around. But that's your belt. What can you tell us the craziest thing that belt's been through? Or I mean, at least PG enough to because we don't need to know everything. But
It could be rated R. Go rated R.
yeah,
If you want to tell us
care,
everything, you can. That's totally fine. Up to you.
I mean, it's lost a few of the gems on here. Like now I can just see a few screws. It's like literally lost like 3 or 4 of the gems that PFL put on there. So I'll have to get them replaced. But I definitely can't tell you the craziest stuff this belt's been through because you would not believe it.
I like that it's losing gems. I feel like it looks distinguished. I don't think you should get him replaced. It looks like it's been through wars just like you.
So hang on. Listen to this. This belt has done Route 66, right? It went from there to, where did it go then? It went from there to the UK. It went from the UK to Dubai to Las Vegas. This belt has done the rounds, boys. It's been around. It's got air miles.
That's
More
amazing.
air
You have to
miles
fly
than I do.
everywhere with it now. Do you put it on your carry-on or you check it?
No, because I didn't go home. I've not been home. I like just had it on me, and then someone I went home for a minute. 6 days I went home, and then I was like, oh, but then my friends in Dubai are gonna want to see it, so I take it there. Oh, but then my American friends are gonna want to see it, so just ends up in the case. But it's time for it to go home now. That's all done, and it's time to get another one here now. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to us about the matchup, the first matchup you have this season against Marlon Moraes. How do you feel about it when it was offered to you? Was that something you jumped at?
Well, it wasn't offered. I just found out on a website.
Wow.
Yeah, true.
tagged
You
me,
get matched up. Yeah.
Yeah, you're fighting Marlon. I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, yeah, Marlon. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm like, at the end of the day, there's 9 other guys that are all chasing this, and you got to be prepared for all 9. So it was whoever. But the reason I like the Marlon matchup is because at least everybody knows who he is. And I feel like last year when I fought Usyk and Ryoji Kudo, although they're good fighters, they were unknown at the time. And it's like, at least now Marlon's got name value, and he's got a good following. Everybody knows him, so people will tune in.
Have you had any run-ins with him this week?
No. I actually trained with Marlon before. We actually share a boxing coach in Thailand. He come and did a camp or 2 out there, so I know Marlon well. We got friends, mutual friends. There's no Marlon's actually a super nice guy. I got nothing bad to say about him.
Me and Jack do a bit of gambling, so we check this stuff. Thanks for the win, actually, for the championship. That was a nice cash on our part. But how does it go into this? You're like a massive favorite. Does that were you aware of that? Or I guess I'll ask the first. Were you aware how you're a huge favorite in this fight?
I didn't know that until now, but the English have been absolutely clearing up on me last season.
Yep.
Chris Wade, 3-1 underdog.
Yep.
They had me at Bubba at evens. They had Kudo was pretty favourite, but a friend of mine, and I'll actually send you this, he put £10,000 on me to beat Bubba, and he put £500 on round 4 and made 13 grand, 33.
Wow.
Yeah. Like insane. People was clearing up last year, but looks like the bookmakers have sussed it out now that Brandon ain't no pushover.
Yeah, they have, especially going up against a guy who has the resume like Marlon Moraes. I mean, that goes to show, obviously, when you guys go in there on Saturday night, it's the odds don't matter anymore, and I'm sure you're training just as hard. But obviously winning the belt, I saw PFL did this great package before the championship fight, going over through everybody. And you were somebody, Bubba was talking about the money, you were talking about the belt. And do you still feel the same, that the belt is greater than that $1 million? Obviously, you're going to take the $1 million. I mean, that's what separates PFL from everybody. But the belt, it seemed as if to you, and I remember the shot, and when they spent the 5 to 10 minutes on you, the biggest thing I took away from this was he cares way more about winning. It's the $1 million is great, but that win just seems so important to you.
No, that's a good question. So I've been going back and forth in my mind about this. Loads of people before the fight, it was like 50-50. I wanted the belt and I want the money. And then when you asked me immediately after the fight, I said it was the performance. I was so happy that I could go in and negate this wrestler, not get taken down, show all my skills. Now that the dust has settled, I mean, it's all just one big bundle of joy, really.
Yeah.
We got a nice gold belt that I can show off for the hard work. Fat bank account. Yeah. And the
McGregor tweet. The McGregor tweet was probably an amazing thing to look at as well.
Cherry
yeah,
on
that was
top.
like mid-bender. Someone like came up to him and was like, you know, like McGregor's just tweeted you, and I'm like 6 pints in, like, oh shit, nice. I'm like, thanks, bro. And that was it, really. But what's crazy about that is that tweet got more hype than me winning the belt. That shows how powerful this man is.
That is crazy. More people texting you about that than the belt win.
Literally, like, people's coming up to me in the bar, like, bro, McGregor has just tweeted about you. I'm like, so what? Like, he's a human being. Like, relax. Like, me and Conor talk on Instagram, whatever. Like, he's a cool guy. Like, but it wasn't like one of them moments where, oh, McGregor's, you know what I mean? It was like, thank you, bro. But I've also, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, again, one big package, the belt, the performance, the McGregor tweet, you know, all rolled into one. It was a great 48 hours for me. It really was. But I can't let that, I can't get complacent with that now because it's a new season. All these savages, I see them all looking at me different now. They're like, you're the man to beat. So, you know, game face, ready to do the job on Saturday night.
Is there anyone that exists that could give you an oh my God reaction from a tweet? Doesn't have to be in the fighting world. Is there like another athlete or actor, someone out there, musician that could tweet you and give you that holy fuck reaction?
I've only ever been starstruck twice. Yeah.
Okay.
First one, John Jones. Like,
Wow.
yeah, we got the same manager and we was like having dinner and he was like, oh, John Jones is over there training in that room. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, do you want to come meet him? I was like, yeah, all right. And then I walked in and John Jones was in there just training. He comes over, starts talking to me. He's like this gigantic, best fighter that ever lived. And he's talking to me and I'm like, oh my God, I'm talking to John Jones. The guy's actually talking to me. That was number one. Number two was I went for dinner with Joe Rogan. That was up there. I was, yeah. Like, I was a big Joe Rogan podcast guy for about 5 years. And then Dominic Cruz was like, oh, I'm going for dinner with him tonight. You want to come? I'm like, yes. So they were the two moments where I was sat there like, don't really know what to say here.
Was that dinner cool? Was it cool just sitting down talking fights with Rogan, I assume?
Amazing. Loved it. What a guy. Both great guys, by the way. Like, they both lived up to the expectations.
That's awesome. Dominic Cruz has always been one of my favorites, not only as a fighter, but as an analyst as well. And as an interviewer, watching him interview other fighters at this point is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, what is your prediction leading into the Marlon Moraes fight? Do you have one? Do you like to predict your fights beforehand?
Never really. Well, the last one, I got it bang on. So
yeah.
Like I said, I'm going to take him into deep waters and drown him, which is what happened with Marlon. Let's see. I want to get this right. I see Marlon coming out like he always does, trying to kill me. He's going to have a 3-minute burst and go absolutely insane. And then the fight pace should slow down a little. When it starts slowing down, I'll take over. And get the finish late first, early second, I see.
Oh, wow.
All right, I'm writing that down.
That's what we're betting on, yeah. All of us going to the sportsbook now and write that down. Brendan, thank you so much for joining the show. We hope to get you back on after the win some point during the season. We wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, fellas. Great to have you guys. Thank you.